Okay, guys, StreamYard says that it is showtime, so maybe in a few seconds we'll be able to start our today's meetup, JavaCon meetup. Just let me add all our social media accounts so that all of you can watch our streaming tonight. Okay, I can already see some people joining us. Hi, guys, tell us if you can see us and if you can hear us, if everything's okay, and we'll be starting the event very, very soon. Hello, hi. First comments appear. Hi guys, great to have you here. Just let me see if we have all our outlets on, if everything's okay. But it looks like everything's fine. So hi guys, it's really great to see you out here. Thanks for joining us. Hi Eric, great to see you. Guys, welcome to JavaCon online meetup. Once more. Maybe there are some of you who are joining us for the first time. Let us know in the comments. We'll be very happy to greet you guys. Everything's working. That's great. Great to know. Okay, guys. Hi. Great to see you online. Who are we? For those of you who might be joining us for the first time, we are a community, and this is the leader of our community, Paweł Niewęgłowski. We want to meet and talk about Java. That's very least that I can say. Okay, guys, this is how it used to look like when we had our JavaCon meetings live. Right now, we are hosting those events online. We'll see what the future brings, but we are very happy that because we are meeting online, we can meet people from all around the world. Some more pictures of what it looks like when we can meet live. Some of the speakers you've already met during our events. Oh, this is a very interesting space. If any one of you knows where this is, let us know. Maybe we'll do a little contest at the end about this place. Okay, and as you can see, oh, here we have our partner today, Luxoft, joining us. They've been with us for a long time now. Okay, and here you can see that we are available for you on Meetup, and we have a community of more than 1,300 people out there. So be sure to join us on Meetup, and also be sure to join us on Facebook. Just enter JavaCon on Facebook, and you should be able to find us. And our main sponsor today is Luxoft company. We are very, very grateful that we have you guys here on board and that you are supporting our community. Now, Luxoft also has some gifts for you guys. We have two competitions. You can win JBL speaker, and you can also win Jabra Elite active headphones. Just let me copy and paste the very important link to the quiz because it's a quiz. So, okay, I'm doing the copy part and now paste. You should be able to see the link to our contest very, very soon. Let us know if you can see us. Okay, Eric, glad to join you for the first time today. Hi, Eric. We hope it's the first but not the last time that we are meeting. Be sure to stay with us till the very end. Now, our speaker today is David Santana, joining us again at this community. He's going to talk some more about madness, software madness, chaos in the software industry. Now, David Santana is an IT project manager master with 14 years of work experience and 18 plus years of university status. He's a professional with 3 master's degrees, and he's specializing in technological project management and more. Now he has experience in different industries, for example, banking, insurance, software, automobile, and also, not only does he gather his experience and his knowledge, but he also shares it. He has teaching experience in university and certification programs for technology companies in and management in America and in Europe. He's a software evangelist and influencer on different social media channels and conferences in USA, Europe, and Latin America. Now, the quiz is already in the chat, so please be sure to check out our quiz because I see some of you asking about this. Now, this is in Polish. It says zadaj pytanie, which means ask a question. If there's anything that is particularly interesting to you guys or something that concerns you and you want to know some more about it, please be sure to leave your questions in the comments or in the chat. We will be asking all the questions to our speaker at the end of today's meetup. So right now, joining us just in a few seconds on your screen should be David Santana. Hi, David. Can you hear us and can you see us?
Hello, everyone. Yes, I can hear perfectly, and I hope you can also see me. I see you. Um,
Great.
yeah, thank you very much for inviting me again in this space. Right now we are doing the quiz, but let me know when I can start with the presentation.
Yeah, I think you can already start because a lot of people already joined the quiz, and we'll be doing some information about who won the quiz at the very end. So now, David, this is all yours. Have fun.
Okay, thank you very much. So, welcome everyone. Today we are going to continue one of our discussions we have had in the past about the software industry. Usually, we are mentioning about tools. Usually, we are mentioning about specific libraries of Java. We were discussing last time about estimation methods and tips how to develop better as Java project. We were also discussing about the versions and so on, but there was also plenty of comments about what is happening in most of the companies when the problems are coming, why the industry still have some issues that we need to fix. So today I'm going to talk more about it. I'm not going to repeat most of the information that I'm going to present here because you can see in our social network channels, in the YouTube videos, and so on. As we mentioned, all of this information gathered today in these presentations are basically of my projects and of my colleagues in the different spectrum of technologies we have had. Of course, it's in English because it's the easiest way to gather information relevant for our industry. In case you want to send me additional information to the points that we are going to mention today or something, please just find me via email or Facebook or even Twitter. Then we will continue with this discussion offline, or maybe even have a second part of it. So the idea today is we are going to express, or we are going to debate about the context of software industry. We're going to see why so many people are coming to this industry that before we didn't have. So this is something that is maybe one of the elements that is showing challenges in our industry. We're going to see the generational workforce, some findings based on the project development that I have had, but also on the important surveys around the globe about the software industry. Also, more specific related with Java, so tech findings about the deployment, build, CI/CD, um, compilation package, and so on. And at the end, after we find all these, let's say, problems or not problems, but the issues that are happening in the industry today, why it seems so chaotic, we will present simple solutions or a way to, in a simple way to fix it and be effective at the same time. So most of the things I'm going to present today are already known in the industry, but for some reason the people are not applying the solutions that are quite simple to do it. But we will see that today. Please, I encourage you to participate today a lot. Maybe if you feel shy or whatever and you cannot do it online or right now or real time, feel free to message me because we are going to touch difficult points of the industry. The idea is not to show that the industry is breaking up or something. We all know that this is the best industry ever. But the idea is to find which points are actually we encountering when we join the software industry or the projects for the first time or at the beginning. I think this is more for the audience that is, let's say, still wondering why the software projects are not smooth and why it's not transparent, why it's not everything pink and sweet. So today we are going to check exactly which variables we should consider, and that's all. So let's start with our topic number one. Please confirm me here in chat that you can hear me fine and you can see the presentation. Right now I'm in the slide that says agenda. I guess everything is fine if you see me also in the screen. For me, it looks fine. Okay, let me check here the comments. Yeah, all clear. Okay, good. Then let's continue. So let's start with the context. Of course, this context is based on the projects as I mentioned before. So what I'm going to present here is what my colleagues and I we have seen in our project, but this does not cover everything. Of course, it all depends on perceptions. Um, One of the things that we have realized or that we have seen in our projects is the fact that many companies, although there is already written or there is already known how to build software, many companies don't have the time to build proper software. The same for the Java projects, although there are plenty of libraries, methodologies, clean code, software architecture, and so on, and that the companies know that at the end most of the companies have issues because they don't have the time to properly do it or to do what they already know. It's a bit strange, and this is what it brings us to know to the well-known resource problem. It's not a problem of resources. It's not to bring more money or more people to the organization. It's just to use them wisely, right? So um, in our previous conferences we were discussing about roles of the software, so I'm not going to present that today, but what I'm going to say is that in the software industry there are a lot of chaos, and mostly it's because of the estimation perspective. So most of the time the acceptance of a project, and then we say okay, we're going to build a software in Java, and then there are some functional and non-functional requirements. The problem starts when we are trying to do this estimation, so that we have this cone of uncertainty. So at the very beginning it's very difficult to know exactly how much code, how much tools, how much libraries, which tasks should be split, and so on. And if we don't take the time or yeah, or the effort to properly detail and split them, then it's going to cost us more at the very end of the project. So we will discuss later how we can fix that. And yeah, we have in previous conferences some comments about uh, the things that are happening that are not, let's say, comfortable for us, the plenty of libraries, why no one is integrating them, why the customers are always asking for things that are not feasible, why we will always need to release against the clock, and so on. So yes, we know all of that, but we also know from our previous experiences and from all these reports that we have presented that the software industry is recently new. So this means that we are less than 50 years in the market as an industry, and still we have some issues. What we can see, for example, here, if we check from the very beginning of our industry, uh, is that due to the nature of the software that is non-tangible, there are plenty of things that you can consider as finalized but not delivered or not used. It means that 50% of the projects in 1979, although they were built or partially built or run but not executed, were not considered successful projects. L- it's a pity, but in 2019, so 40 years later, the percentage is almost the same. So, okay, not 50%, but it's still super high. So, the percentage of successful projects, when we were considering successful as a project that we have enough resources, we have enough money, we get the profit that we expected, and we finalize on time the requirements that the customer really wanted. Based on that definition that we present last time, a successful project is less. The successful projects are less than 10% of the projects of the industry in the Java perspective, but this is the same in most of the languages. So the second issue we need to talk here about is this misconception that when we're talking about Java projects, usually the people imagine that Java projects are only for old banking applications with web applications, architectures and layers, web forms, and that's all. But this is not correct because Java today is able to support or is supporting different paradigms, including imperative, object oriented, procedural, parallel streams, also functional, declarative, logic, etc. Even for that data analysis, even for machine learning, we have libraries nowadays. So the fact that a project is Java does not mean that all the projects are the same. We can have a variety of projects, and this is not a problem of technology. So here it comes a second problem of our industry, and it's the garbage you give to your project. Java is not going to change it. So Java is only a way to process our ideas. So if your code receives the false or very bad quality input, is most logically is that Java is going to produce an application that is going to be as bad as the input. So even if the algorithms are good, if our inputs are not correct, if our integrations are not correct, if the delays between the layers are too high at the end, the application in overall is going to be bad for the customer. So we mentioned, and still is still valid today, the automation of the software is also the key. So right now we are trying to automate everything. So trying to automate the way we code, the way we create the loops, the way we encapsulate the data, the way we do the presentation layer, the way that we generate the deployment or the descriptors or the piece of code at the end, how we build or yeah or compile, let's say, our software, how we execute the test, how we release these builds, when we deploy, how it's the workflow for production, these kind of things. Today in 2022, we know that if we want to improve our software industry, the automation of those steps in the process is the key. This is the key for save our industry. Then we have, of course, the different programming languages. Um, they change with the time. That's why one of the reasons because I like Java a lot is because most of these other programming languages have their 15 minutes of fame, and then no one else is working with them, or maybe the people are pivoting too much. Java is very stable. Is, as I mentioned before, it's one of the leading languages in the last 20 years, always in the top five for the last 20 years in every ranking. So I think it's quite reliable. Okay, uh, that's the context of the industry we are going to talk today. Why this conference was presented is basically after these discussions, also in our projects, also with the new members that we are receiving in our companies today and different projects, we have realized that a lot of people are joining our industry, but these people have a shorter path to learn than we had before. So before we used to, or we needed to learn, I don't know, 6 years of computer science degree, and then work in some lab for programming, campus, and then some initial projects, and then we have to do everything by ourselves and maybe use one framework at the end of this path. What we are seeing today is that the people are suffering an accelerated time. they are they have less chances to learn 6 years. They have less chances to understand one framework because now there are 20 frameworks at the same time. So the pressure is higher, the demanding or the demand for roles it's also higher, and the capabilities of the technologies are also higher. So this is a very harsh time for the people, and that's why the industry is actually gathering more and more people to try to solve these complexity problems. But this gives a, let's say, a secondary effect, and is the fact that the industry is moving a lot of money and the people are following the money. So in the past, we used to have people who were focused on technologies, learn about technologies, do the, let's say, the whole long path in technology, and then they got the projects, and then due to the nature of their projects, they received the money, and actually they were very satisfied with this money. But what is happening today is that due to this complexity that I explained before and the software industry we have explained at the beginning of this conference and in previous conferences, there are a lot of money to try to solve this complexity. So people are just seeing this opportunity and joining the industry without knowing what is going on here, why the Java projects or in general software projects are like they are. So give me the money is the part that express why people are joining this industry that is not technology. So let's suppose that even if they like or not technology, one of the most important reasons because people in 2022 are starting to consider this industry is because the salaries are very competitive. So actually, I present here. This is from our last conference. Um, Java and Python, where we were discussing about that, have a very interesting salary rate in Europe, for example, and in US. And we have said that this is quite attractive for the new generations. If they are looking for a path for a career, if they are looking for a way to develop their lives, usually you can say, okay, if I can have this money, maybe I can live so good. So maybe I can force that path on my side. But the issue is what I mentioned before is okay, you can do it, but how much time do you need to join the industry? So theoretically, you should have yeah, your time to process all the, let's say, core knowledge, then some frameworks, then some practices, and then join the industry. That was how it was done before. But today, the companies and the projects and the, let's say, the offer demand does not allow us that. So it means they say, okay, you still don't have this preparation. I'm going to throw you through some Java bootcamp of 2 weeks, even that you have never had any other experience programming. And then after these 2 or 3 weeks, I'm going to send you to some 2 or 3 frameworks, more or less, next finish. And then after 1 month, you are more or less ready. I will put you in a junior position, and then I expect that you will be senior in 1 year. And then this is too much for those people that are joining in that way. So this we will mention later. What are the pros and cons and how we can solve them? Just for those that are maybe not watching the screen, I will invite you first to watch the conference because it will be more interesting for you if you not only listen, but if you're only listening to me, I'm presenting right now this DAX industry salary rate, which tell us based on technologies and the year, what is the average salary, for example, in the USA for Java, .NET, C++, and so on. So, for example, in Java, it's around $100,000 per year in the US, and it's almost the same for the last 5 years. It shows that it's consistent. It's good and it's consistent, and it doesn't change. It has not changed um, due to COVID, for example, or due to war or these kind of things. Also, we are seeing here the average software developer salaries, not only in USA this time. We can also see in Europe the representation of that. So in general, here in Europe, it can be about 50,000 euros yearly, still very stable, and we can do the extrapolation between the US market and the European market. Also, moment, yeah, you can see here based on technologies for software engineers, what is the languages that are giving you the most money in salary. So as you can see, more or less, they are around 100,000 yearly in the US, which the extrapolation will be like 50,000 in Europe. And as you can see, Java is very well paid. It's in this case in the position number 5. Usually it's between the 235 every year. Okay, so I'm located in Germany. That's why I'm presenting this information from the DAX. But you can see here also Barcelona, and in general, these places are full of projects. And you can see that this is very, or one of the reasons that motivates newcomers to our industry. Yeah. For example, in Poland, you can see that this between 1,200 euros and 4,300 euros yearly. Um, of course, we need to use this parity and numbeo and so on to make the cost living balance, because it's not the same to receive 2,000 euros in London as 2,000 euros in Berlin and 2,000 euros in Warsaw or in Wrocław or in Krakow, etc. but more or less for you to understand. What I'm trying to present here is that not only the environment or the projects are stable in our industry, attractive in our industry, but also they have the quality that you can increase quickly your salary only with few years of experience. This is not that easy to get in any other industry. So as a Java developer, you can join the industry, start with a, let's say, average salary again. Here in Europe, for example, 2,000, 3,000 euros, and then in just 5 years of experience, you are already in 4,000 euros. So this is something that you cannot find easily in any other industry. That's why it's so important. Second thing that we have discussed before is the for other industries you need to, for example, if you are going to do aviation, you need to have actually a plane, right? And a airport, a lot of tools that are really, really expensive or difficult to get, or that you need to commute to some place to do your test. With our industry, we are blessed because we can just do it with a laptop and a connection to the internet or a tablet. It doesn't matter. So we don't need that much. It's all untangible. So that's super good. You can learn super quick, and then you can join this industry. So this is the second part that I wanted to present. First one was the industry of software. The second is the motivations that are bringing a lot of people to our industry in an exponential rate, let's say. Yeah. So, but there is a problem here, and is that the people are not understanding how this industry is working when they are joining in that way. As, oh, I see money, I go there. Let what I have to do. It's a bit different paradigm, and then we are having a lot of fake expectations and a lot of insatisfaction, frustration. I don't remember how to say that. So we need to evaluate our third topic, which is the generational workforce of our companies. So one of the things we need to work with or try to understand now is that, okay, we are a relatively new industry, but the generations have changed a lot, so as the tools. So tools, frameworks, and the way we are working with machines have changed a lot. So someone, for example, like me, who has had 20 years of experience in technology, understand totally different as someone that was 40 years of experience or someone that is joining now. And it's not even related who is more efficient, because it can depend, or it depends on the framework you're using. I can be totally useless in new frameworks, in a new way to adapt the, for example, I don't know, social media, TikTok projects, and this kind of stuff, and stack also of technologies. So we need to understand who is our workforce. So let's imagine we have a average good company. I'm not talking about top companies. I'm talking about uh, bad companies, just average company, let's say Acme company, for the sake of our example. So if we follow the trend, and if we work with average here in Europe and in US, we will find that from 2022 we are going to have a distribution of generational force workforce that is mostly millennials and Generation X. Understanding that based on this table, so I really don't want to enter to discuss if these are exactly the years of this generation, because I really don't care. But it's more about how we are composed, or we are composing our industry here, and what does it mean. So based on those distributions, then there was plenty of surveys, which I don't see here the reference. Ah, yeah, here. The reforceresearch.com. And then we start to see what is going on in the who is joining our industry and why. So for example, here we have that 70% of the millennials that are joining now our industry, in this case, are expecting the employers to take stand on social and political issues. This is something new for our industry 20 or 10 years ago only. So plenty of things are changing the way that we are seeking for a job, we are evaluating our jobs, and so on. So, for example, 55% of the job seekers, if they check in Glassdoor, in Google, or whatever, this company is doing, I don't know, uh, something bad about the forest, or damaging the atmosphere, or I don't know, creating obsolescence, technological obsolescence, and so on. 50% of the people are not joining. As simple as that. Yeah, 77%, for example, of the generational set consider that if there is no diversity or balance in gender, in age, in so different factors, they don't join. And this has an impact in the industry because there is an explosion of software projects in the Java perspective also, and we need a lot of people. But if the people are not joining, we need to adapt the industry to those people to get this talent into our industry. Yeah. So we have here, for example, that 70% of the employee engagement is impacted by managers. It means that we are not very patient, right? It means that our resources know that the explosions of Java projects or software projects in general is so high that if I have a horrible boss, I'm not going to. I don't need to be patient with this boss, right? I need to. I just can't find a new job or a new project super quick. That's why this engagement rate is so significant. Yeah. Um, for example, 71% of the employees were suffering burnout. And we were mentioning later why burnout in the software industry. For those who are already working here and coding and developing, deploying, and so on, this is clear. But for us, is but for the new people it's like, oh, why, what is going on here, why we have burnout, is that difficult in the industry? And the industry is not that difficult because it all depends on the estimations. So we will realize that if we do proper estimations, we can say to the customer, listen, I can do this and this and this for September, this and this and this for November, and this and this for February. And then we can work and deliver, of course, incremental delivery so the customer can perceive or see the results of our progress. And we are not going to be burned out because for everyone or for everybody is clear when and what we are going to release every time. We don't have a proper coordination of the team, if we don't have the proper estimations, then the customer actually would say, I hope that you have all the software by December, and we will say, yeah, let's try it, and then we have this burnout. This was demonstrated in this survey. As you can see, 71% was burnout at some point uh, in the industry. So this is this was even before COVID, which I think this number could be higher at this time. Um, Also, due to the fact that the newcomers don't have the time to learn that much, also to have the normal, let's say, path of learning of 6 7 years and practicing with tools and frameworks, but they are just like you push them into the water with 6 months. Due to that fact, they need to continue learning during their, let's say, employee phase. So it's learn at the same time that you're working, and this is quite normal. And 94% of them will not stay in a company if this company does not allow them to learn, which is happening actually, unfortunately, quite often, that the companies are saying, yeah, yeah, I will allow you to learn, but at this moment not, because this project is important. Then they burn the resource at the very beginning, and due to the fact that this resource has not yet the proper knowledge, then the productivity is not high, then they don't allow them, he or she, to have a proper learning, and then it's like a vicious cycle. Yeah. So all these issues are going to present different perspectives of why the industry is failing. And for each of them, we will focus on what can be the solution, what or which area can be the solution for each issue. For each issue, for example, we will see that requirement management is super important, because if we don't understand what we are building at the very beginning with the proper detail, the customer will always ask for more. Or the product owner, if we don't have a product owner or someone who represents the vision of the project, or a proper 360 understanding, or if we don't define correctly the tools and processes, which we are going to see later in the um, in the diagrams that I'm going to show about the software industry, then this is going to be a problem. Not having a proper architecture, not synchronized properly, done, not, for example, document or explain how the processes or code or deployments are working for each person of the team, don't have a configuration or yeah, a schema of continuous integration, continuous delivering, this kind of stuff. So let me check if at the moment we have anything here to say. At the end, we will have a question and answer session. Remember, in case you find more information about this industry that we should present in further opportunities, please let us know here or by my email or something. Okay, another issue that is happening here is that not all the team members of the software project, of the Java project, or Scrum project, whatever you're working with, have the same commitment or responsibility, and this is not clear also quite for a lot of projects. So it's clear what we have to deliver, but it's not clear who should do that, and who is the responsible of that, who is the accountable of that, who should be more involved in which task and why. Um, Also, an issue that has been actually evolving a lot, I'm quite surprised, is the hierarchy organization of the software projects. This is going very well. At the very beginning, we had so many, let's say, control and management positions, and we have the manager of the manager of the manager of the manager of the manager to control the project. And then this was just generating an overload in the structure, and then not allowing us, the technical people, to coordinate better, but just putting us more constraints and bureaucracy that delays our path. Now it's the organizations in the software industry are tend to be flat, or let's say smaller. So now we have Scrum teams. So now we have maybe one manager, and then this manager coordinates with the CIO. This is super flexible, super quick, super flat, and then it's working much better. So this is something that we will see in the general findings. Uh, Here I see the question: will Java be like a good wine? The older, the better. Yeah. I invite you to see the conference about the evolution of Java, but we were actually mentioning that it's not about the fact that Java is old; it's about the fact of the community. Java has plenty of libraries and a big community and so many paradigms that you can work with any new technology or all technology only with Java. So if you are thinking, oh, I would like to make robust, secure systems like banking or military or defense and so on, I will go with Java. But what if I want to do some artificial intelligence, streaming, data science, and so on? Well, you can also go with Java. That's the point. That's the magic of the community. That we are always building updated frameworks, updated libraries, updated ways to work. Yeah. I don't remember the name of the conference, but yeah, write me and I will send you the link. Yes. Good. Okay, so let's go first with the general findings about the industry. What is happening from the non-technical or from technical perspective, but not from the code perspective. And then let's go to the code perspective. And then when I finish, we will do the questions and answers there. So for the general findings, I collect different surveys about what is happening in the industry, and we have checked that from the very beginning of the process for these newcomers, from the interview, from the inception, is already something broken. So, as I mentioned before, the newcomers don't have the time to learn that much or to process that much or to have a proper path, right? They are just, someone is pushing them to the water and they need to learn how to swim during the time they are in the water. And due to that, also the recruiters are having difficult times to evaluate their candidates, because they're like, okay, if you don't have the experience, if you don't have the let's say the studies, and if you cannot demonstrate a longer path because we didn't allow you to that, how can I know that more or less you could be useful for us? So then there is this interview process which consists of I don't know, 5 6 7 interviews, just because there is not even a methodology behind, just because they just present to different team members some code challenges that are recycled from interview to interview and so on. and that are not reflecting exactly what you're looking in your project. You are looking, for example, someone who help you to, I don't know, automatize the building or the, I don't know, let's say the automation of streaming some videos or some multimedia in a social network, new social network. Then you need those specific topics, but still the interviews and code challenges are focused on, okay, how do you sort an array of numbers using bubble but without the complexity, blah blah blah. And these kind of things that are not that related with the streaming and with the things that the project is supposed to do. So the people have realized that the interviews and code challenges are more or less the same. I'm not saying that they are easy, I'm just saying that they are the same. So the people are learning the Asian trick. The Asian trick is memorize or practice those interviews and those code challenges. It doesn't matter if you are actually not able to do the streaming, which is the project for, but if you are able to pass the interview. And then this is like a vicious cycle, because then the companies are hiring the people who are good doing the challenges and interview process, although they are not the fit member for the project. And which is worse, they are rejecting the people who are fit for the project because these people maybe did not learn or memorize or are so suitable to remember what specific way they should use to swap two variables without using three variables and these kind of things. Yeah. So this is part of the findings we have found in our projects. Also, the test discard approach has increased a lot. What does it mean? It means that right now the people are interviewing thousands of people in several layers with these, let's say, recycle code challenges and so on, and then they just are interviewing without having even positions. We that was very strange for us to notice, but yes, many companies are, they need two or three projects and they need for these two or three projects 20 people, or anyway they are interviewing 300 because they just want to have updated CVs with the rankings more or less for the time when they one day maybe need these people. Yeah. And this is generating also uncomfort, yeah, this is not comfortable for the candidates, also not for the recruiters, because they are playing this game of, I'm interviewing you but I'm not going to use you or hire you. And the people are like, I'm doing at the same time 10 20 interviews in parallel, but I'm actually not going to join you. I just need to, let's say, learn how to do these code challenges, and that's why I'm using your company. So this is a bit insane in our industry. um okay, so there is also a lot more software engineering than coding. So many people think that, okay, you learn how to code, the rest is easy, but you need to also test, you need to also deploy, you need to also comment, distribute, demonstrate that your software is covered. It means non-functional requirements and functional requirements are covered. You need to make sure that the estimations are accurate. If no, work on them. So the whole software development lifecycle or process is more than just code. So some people think, okay, I'm going to learn how to code in 6 months, and therefore I'm just perfect for the industry. No, you are just ready to enter in the industry. You're still not good enough even to be a good element of the industry. Yeah. Um, Another findings we have seen, there are a way, it looks almost like unlimited job offers, which is, we could say that is good, but we also mentioned in other conference that when we have too much to select, then we don't select good. Yeah, when you have two or three options, then you can focus, okay, which one of these three is the better. But if I offer you an ice cream of 1,000 different flavors, then you will be just whatever, give me whatever. Yeah, it's the same with the job offers. In the software industry, there are so many projects with so different mix of frameworks and technologies that at the end you say, oh, I don't know, let's apply to all of them, or let's let them call me. Also, it's happening that the social hunters or uh, recruiters or LinkedIn platforms and so on, they just click everyone who has whatever with technology and invite to the interview. So they are not even actually reading your profile. If you say I'm front end, they are inviting you to back end. If you say I only have experience with Oracle, they invite you to, I don't know, Postgres and this kind of stuff. That's quite normal. And sometimes you don't even know that until the third or fourth round of interviews. So You don't even know that they are not fit for each other. Um, what other findings have we found? Yeah, that it's software engineering is more than code. This is difficult to understand. The fact that you can code, of course, is very important. Is the pillar of the core of our profession. But software engineering is more than that. Um, Other thing is that the IT market speed is so fast. New libraries, new languages, new perspective paradigms. It's impossible for you to learn all of them before joining the industry. You can say like, okay, David, okay, I'm going to take my time and going to try to do the long process or path. And then after that, I'm going to join the software industry because then you can join us in maybe 3 or 4 lives later because it's impossible for you as a human to catch up with the IT market speed. Therefore, it comes also the imposter syndrome. That is, so many things are new that you are like, oh, maybe all that I need is useless, and then you feel like sometimes new things appear, and then your knowledge is no longer relevant. So this is also part of our industry, and we also have found that in this collection of surveys. Constructive feedback is scarce. Also very interesting. We tend to be individualistic. I don't remember how to say that. We tend to be very focused on ourselves when we work in the software industry. It means when we have problems, we fix our problems. We don't share the solution. Not because we are greedy, I don't know, ambitious, no, egoistic, but because we think, I don't have time to document that. Let's go for my second task. That's why there are plenty of problems that are the same and plenty of forums that says, please help me. I don't know how to connect a database doing that. And then you check and there are 3,000 people asking the same. Vale. Then we have here the gender imbalance. So the, the statistics shows that still in our industry, although it's much, much better than before, the let's say balance between gender is still not there. So still women constitute less than 20% of our industry with a quit rate of 47%. It means the industry is still too harsh and women are just saying, no, I'm not going to stand that. Bye bye. Yeah, because of all these other aspects that we are mentioning, also is it's a very yeah, it's very aggressive environment at the beginning. We need to work on that and we need to make it like any other environment, like normal place to be. Okay, lack of time for training, we already mentioned that. Low retention for good engineers, as I mentioned, plenty of projects and all this disaster and interviews and so on. So the people say, nah, I just moved to another project and that's all. And IT libraries and so on, they continue growing and growing, but chaotically. There is no time for also for the industries, also for the vendors to coordinate and say, hey guys, it seems that we are doing the same. Let's focus here and create an standard. It's like, oh, everything is so fast that I'm going to create my own way. And then everybody's creating their own way. That's why we have this Vue.js, React, Angular, and all this stuff. It would be easier just if they just sit together and say, "No, okay, let's try to focus on this." It was the same in the past, for example, with the service-oriented architecture and the composition of applications until the big communities sit together and say, okay, let's create a standard for compose applications, and then they create the SCA, or the same with BPM or this kind of stuff. This is every time more difficult to get in, not only in the Java world, but in the software industry in general. Plenty of things to do, plenty of things to learn, but not many things to integrate and standardize. Bien. Um, your schedule is not from 7 till 4 p.m. or 7 till 3 p.m. It depends on your country. So this is different to any other industry. If you're working, I don't know, in supermarket or in any other industry, then you have a fixed schedule. You arrive at 7, at 4 or 3, you're free to go home. But in our industry, because it's non-tangible and because the estimations are not that clear and all these stuff that we are mentioning, it's not that rare that you need to work one day or some days or critical days, 10, 12, 14 hours. So if you're new in the industry, it is quite normal. Yeah. Also, it's quite normal that we are working in days that are weekends or holidays and this kind of stuff. Not only because we are delayed, but also because the projects were not coordinating that good that we need to deploy when there are less risk to fail. For example, I'm doing some e-commerce website platform based on TikTok, whatever. Then I say, oh, it's very risky to release in normal hours, so I'm going to release at 2 a.m. on Sunday because so 2 a.m. Sunday most of the people are either in parties or whatever, but they are not starting or working. So if I release there and it's not working, at least I have some time window to fix it. And this is very common in our projects as well. Also, another sad finding, we have excess of meetings. We are technical people. We should be working at the very beginning, yes, with meetings to do this estimation and definitions and so on. But later, we should not be coordinating that excessively. So, what we have seen in the industry is that in a day, instead of having a 10 minutes meeting or 15 minutes meeting, there are people that are having 4 hour meetings, not one, but many, and then synchronization meetings and so on. And due to this, let's say, multitasking environment plus meetings, the only time window they have to be productive is like 1 or 2 hours per day, which is very, very difficult to produce something as code because code is more like code is a bit like art in this way that you need to think about the solution and design and then write it down in the tools. So it's like to say to a painter or a writer, okay, now get all the inspiration to write this book, but you only have 10 minutes today, but no more than 10 minutes. So it's something that we have seen also. Personality types, I'm not going to go there too much, but basically we have more or less the same type of people in our industry, which is not balanced. It doesn't mean that we have bad personality types, but it means that most of us are same personality type, which is not giving us variety, balance, and so on. Maybe let's say we all are uh, shy and grumpy, and I don't know. I'm just giving some examples. It doesn't need to be like that, but my point is that if we don't have a mm, rainbow of personality types, then we also are going to have difficulty to integrate ourselves better because we will have very biased opinion all the time. Um, pay programming is not working as good as in the academy. I mean, we have learned what is pay programming, but in the day when the day comes, pay programming is like, okay, you bring me some coffee, I will work, and you just just look what I'm doing in the screen. Yeah, I'm not gonna explain. Okay, I'm going to try to go faster in the general findings. You can check the presentation later and read it with peace. But here, maybe an important thing to mention is people are realizing also in the industry that it's so chaotic that if you want to grow up and you don't have the time to learn and you want to learn, earn more money, for you it's easier just to switch job than to actually articulate with the company, talk with your manager or representative and say, okay, let's try to focus on my new knowledge and your projects and my productivity so that I can earn 20% more or 15% more in 2 years. Or so this is not happening due to the fact that the industry has these cracks. So what is happening is that the people are saying, okay, I just need to earn more money. I open LinkedIn or Glassdoor or whatever, and then Golden Line. Then I say I need a new job, and I receive offers, and then I just switch. And each time you switch, you earn more. So it's like more, 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 more. It looks perfect, but it has a problem. It's you are never articulating with the projects, therefore you are not learning the tools properly. Therefore, you are not that effective for this company. So it's frustrating for the company and for you. Yeah, you are making more money, but you need to switch jobs very, very often. So this is something that we need to work. Yeah, bootcamps, abuse of Stack Overflow, Google, etc. Great. Let's see how much time do we have. Okay, so we still have a bit of time. So let's focus on the mm, on the software crisis. Okay, no, this one not tech findings. Yeah, let's go to the last part. So the technical findings. This is very, very important now. This is more when we are already in the project. Let's suppose all the other issues are already solved, or we don't care about them. Let's go what happening when we are building software. So what is happening is we are trying to automate everything, and we can see a report for North America, Latin America, and in Europe based on not only software factories but companies in general who are building software projects that have high impact. And then we will see based on a sample of 1,000 employees what is happening in the Q4 2021. So it's very updated statistics for the technical findings. So we can see that yes, due to the nature of frameworks and due to the fact that many people are specialized just in one matter, there is no time to do this integration manually, and we are trying to automate each step of the life cycle. Now we have something that is called builders, continuous integration, continuous delivery tools, Jenkins, these kind of things. But then we have to wait for these tools to work for us. For example, static code analysis, for example, yeah, test review, test coverage. We need to wait each time we are releasing for this clean, deploy, install, release, and so on. And this is consuming a lot of time for us and per day. So this is something that we have found as a problem recently in the software industry. It was increasing for the last 10 years a lot. So at the beginning was very insignificant. At the beginning, when we were building software in Java, yeah, we were focused a lot on the interfaces. For example, with the J2E, with the Enterprise Edition 2, we need to create all of these remote, local, and all other components and descriptors, which was super boring. But when the time come to create the ER, WAR, JAR, whatever, and then deploy, it was a matter of 30 seconds each time, and the deployment maybe 1 minute, and then that's all. Now that everything is automated, then our life is easier, but then we need to wait up to 20 minutes. So the time to run a build right now, it's ridiculously high. Yeah, and it also depends on the kind of projects. It can be up to 1 hour in some particular projects of some particular industries, but that's a lot. It means that if you have to release, let's say, 3 or 4 functionalities per day, and let's assume that you just need one try, then you will, let's suppose that you have to wait 30 minutes, then you will have to wait 2 hours just to do this build, for example. And if you are doing, for example, a CI release build, then it's even higher. Yeah. So the amount of time we are waiting for this automation framework and tools to happen is higher and higher. That's why we have these kind of jokes that we are not actually working because we are all the time are like drinking a coffee or going to the bathroom or whatever, because actually we are compiling or deploying. Yeah. um Good. What other information do we have? We have gathered the information that in average we got 20 minutes to run a build, 30 minutes to finalize a successful build, and 57 minutes to have a proper CI release build in production, having this problem up to 32% of the developers, which is a lot, which it means that at least once when you are releasing a major deployment, uh, at least 32%, which is 1/3 of the developers, have to wait 1 hour for that to happen. And this, we are assuming that you are doing the good development. We are assuming you are actually coding well, taking care of everything is under control. So you are expecting actually to that your build and test and so on are going to be effective and successful. You're thinking this is going to work, and then you are waiting these 57 minutes. um and this is not a problem of Java. I mean, this happened in Java, but this is not a problem of the language. It's the same in every other language. Right now, with the microservices and the architectures, distributed architectures in components and layers, you can execute projects that are a mix of multiple languages, and still the numbers are the same. Another interesting finding here is that we are wasting a lot of time on the onboarding process. as we are having many people and horrible recruitment process, uh, then we are usually having ineffective 3 or 4 weeks. It depends on the source you're checking, but in general, almost 1 month is lost for the productivity of this engineer. So maybe the person joined, maybe the process is not defined, maybe the tools are not there, maybe the tools are there and but the laptop not, maybe the laptop is there but it has no privilege and he or she cannot even open a browser. They cannot even install the Java, the JDK. There are plenty of things that are going to delay this process, and at the end, it costs a lot of money. Based on the average salary we have presented before, it means that we are wasting about 8,000 euros per engineer, per new engineer in the onboarding process, which is a lot. Also, the adoptions of technologies in our system and how extent is this is changing a lot, but still we have impressive a lot of legacy things, as you can see in this graphic. For example, development in the cloud is happening finally, but it's only the 50% of the projects. And this is actually, it does not mean that it's actually super good, because if you don't know how to develop in the cloud, if you don't have the good connections in the cloud or the good resources in the cloud, this is actually not positive. Yeah, but it is that we will diminish the amount of resources we need to build software, and we will see later why. Um, yeah, okay, let's skip all of this. You can read them. Static code analysis, 76% of the people say that it's consuming a lot and it's not that effective, right? And 88% says that they should use dynamic code analysis, but the tools are overwhelming and or they don't have the time to do it. So this is also causing some frustration in the long run. Um, how we are trying to solve this problem? Well, mm, we are engineers, so we also try to find the fastest, cheaper, and laziest way to fix it, because we don't have the time to do it. We need to work. So the easiest way to solve this problem that is taking so much time building and compiling and deploying is, okay, let's bring more hardware. So if I bring a computer that is the double or triple faster and, yeah, better, maybe the deployment and the compilation and the tests are going to run faster. And then this is the workaround we are using at the moment. So actually, as a workaround is happening, but this is very costly for the organizations, because then our bad process is going to cost more to the company, because we have all these problems that I mentioned before. The whole process, the deployment process, for example, is going to take 1 hour. Then we buy these super servers and we reduce that into 30 minutes. But the super server costs us 50,000 euros more, for example, and it has a limit. So let's say then later, still too slow, you cannot just buy another 50,000 euros. Maybe this is going to cost 200,000, maybe 1 million euros. So this is not linear. Yeah. Good. So this is what we have: wasting time daily waiting for bills. So according to the survey, uh, 98% of the software developers think that they are wasting time every day waiting for bills. So only 2% say I'm not that I'm not wasting that much time, because I try not to go to the toilet during the day, and then when I do the bill, which is more or less 4 minutes, is exactly the amount of time that I need in the toilet. So I'm not wasting that time, because I'm just clever, and then I coordinate to go to the toilet at the same time. Then when I return, the code is compiled. So for these 2%, great, but for the rest 98%, then this is suppose a problem. Um, for example, you can see that in these industries that are heavy industries, when they need to rely on a lot of testing, a lot of coverage, a lot of integrations, they have suffering more this wasting time. They're waiting per day, for example, up to 70. They are claiming that they're wasting a lot of time, up to 71%. Good. Let me see. I can skip all most of this. Yeah, we can see that the slow build time is a problem for most of the organizations. We can see which organizations are impacted the most. All of them are impacted in a way, but we can see that the developers are frustrated every day in different ways, but one of the top is debugging. It means the way we are building software and documenting is not effective. Therefore, we need to debug a lot. If we will have a clear, not only architecture, because this is important, but also a clear documentation, knowledge transfer, because documentation, then the people imagine Java doc, Java doc full of letters. No, I mean that we understand actually what is the code for, and we will not spend that much time in debugging. For example, you can see here that the crashes in production are taking the frustration of the software developers in 35%. Also, the fact that we also need to learn new frameworks, libraries, and so on the whole time. This is frustrating because we never catch up with the knowledge. Let's say these build times also 31%, maintaining legacy code 28%, and so on. Um, yeah, so these are more or less the statistics I wanted to show you today. The discussion is open. We can see that also selecting the false or not selecting the right tools or the right processes are costing us a lot. Yeah, up to 2 hours per day per developer, which is 74 days per year, which is a lot. And yeah, that's what I wanted to present about the statistics. Now let's go into the final part, and it's okay. So if the software industry is so bad, why we are here? Because it's not bad. We first mentioned that software is a pleasure, it's an art. We love Java. We just need to fix these little details, and we already know how to. We just didn't have the time or the willing to do it, but the solutions are already there. Yeah. So first thing is to work on our programming skills. Work on the paradigm or the type of work of project that you need to do. If you know you're doing front end, focus in front end. If you know you're doing back end, focus on back end. In the back end, if you know you are doing SQL models and you are doing optimization of queries, focus on that and try to be more, try to be stronger in the way that you program those specific parts or layers. Don't try to attack everything at the same time. Focus on your project, and when you reduce, when you have a better code, your code base is reduced. And one of the statistics that maybe I just skip here, sorry, is that when you reduce your code base, also your time of waiting is reduced a lot. So it's not only the workaround of buying new hardware, but also when your code base is decreased, you already have a speed of faster build times. Yeah. So the better you program, the less you have to wait and the less machine power you need to buy. What other thing we need to focus? We need to focus on work as a team. As I mentioned at the very beginning, the the software engineers in average are very individualist, which is not bad per se, but also the way that we are transmitting the knowledge is very slow because one person is not that when you have a group knowledge, this is faster for documenting, to also to express the software requirements and so on. When you work alone, even for yourself, you are going to forget. Sometimes we create our code, we document mediocre our own code, and 3 years later when there is a problem in production with this legacy code, we check and we say, who did this horrible thing? Then you check the code, it was me. And then you check the comments, I don't understand. So even you don't have the knowledge of what you have done. Yeah. uh, and focus in what is important. So have a clear, defined task. Like do the proper estimations, as we mentioned in our previous conferences. Break your project up based on the resources you have. You have 3 front ends, 2 back ends. So try to focus in the front end because you have more people in the front end. Or you don't have anyone in artificial intelligence, don't put a task of artificial intelligence in your project. Or if you need to have it, then plan properly the incorporation or the acquisition of this talent in your project before having the task. These kind of things, yeah. Embrace the chaos is maybe the summary of this lecture. Is any industry has problems, our also, but our is the best. No, but we love our industry, right? So let's fix it. It's quite easy. Make communication plans, yeah. Update and notify the tools. Don't use the best of breed. Also go to the conference best of breed and bob. Don't try to use all the frameworks at the same time. Focusing in the one that you know. Try to resist to the temptation to try every single thing that happen every day, yeah. And try to simplify everything. Try to reduce the amount of meetings, yeah. These meetings are useless. Try to have the daily, very particular one-to-one for some problems, maybe some retro grooming. Try to reduce the time you waste during meetings. Unify your communication so it's easier to find messages even despite of the channel. um yeah. So in general, have the reminder chats, news, everything synchronized. The idea is that all the knowledge can be accessed by all the channels and you can just focus on work, and then you say, oh, someone mentioned that the problem in the database, and then you just say search for database, and then it search in your chat, in your audios, in your cell phone, in your SMS, in your conferences, in the code. Search everywhere and say maybe the solution is here. Yeah? This is the future of the way we should be working with the knowledge management system in our projects. Also work with boards, service desk tickets. Like try to organize the way we work in software. Try not to have favors. Yeah, can you give me 1 minute of your time to let's check this database? Because then it's like, please help me. No, it's like create a ticket or send an email. Hey, I have this problem. Do you have time for me later? Yeah. So then you don't queue tasks and tasks in the senior programmers. Yeah, that's all. This I didn't translate this. Okay, again. Good. So that's all what I wanted to present today. Now we are going to move to the questions and answers. Plenty of things that I need to skip. Also, plenty of things that even in our project we didn't find, but for sure that are in the industry. And then when you tell me, I would say yes, of course. How I missed that. So I hope you have liked the compilation that I have made for you. Let's check what do you say in our social networks and chats. Java will be like a good wine. I already replied that. Java 8 evolution or revolution. This one. Yes, this is the conference. Java frameworks. Which one to use? What can be say about the older like Struts, Hibernate, and so on? Which one do you recommend and why? Ooh, it all depends on the project, as everything is depends on. But I would say that in the past, these older frameworks were more explicit because you need to do more. So I like that because, for example, when you are doing JSF or Struts or Hibernate or Toplink, these frameworks were not that good in compared to the frameworks nowadays, but you needed to know every single part of the framework to create a proper project. Nowadays, with these new frameworks, you don't need to know that much. You need to understand how the framework is working to make it work. But then this is have this brings the problem that the when you face an error in production, you are lost, and then you go to Stack Overflow, and then you abuse of Stack Overflow, as I present in the slides. You cannot be Stack Overflowing every 10 minutes something, because then maybe if you are working, let's suppose with a backend, and then you say, how do I check a table? Stack Overflow, how do I check a table? And then there is a clause called select. Okay. Then you do the task. Okay. Then someone says you need to cross this table. Stack Overflow. How do I, if you start to Stack Overflow or Google every 2 minutes, everything, maybe you're wasting 20, 30, 50 hours. It's easier that you do a course or a training in SQL of 2 hours or three, and then you don't need to Stack Overflow 50 hours. That's you need to find this balance. Maybe I hope that you have understood my answer. What recruitment process does Luxo for Java developers currently have? It depends on the project, but actually I like the recruitment process of Luxoft. I was working with Luxoft since 2013. Um, they select. I don't know what is the process in 2022, so maybe the Pavel or someone else can help me to answer that. But as far as I remember, the recruitment process was based not only in a static or classic code challenge, but more like, okay, we have this project. These are the technologies of this project. We will ask specific questions or challenges of these technologies of the project. How would you do it to work with that? And some specific also knowledge questions about the tool, like how do you create an index here? How do you do I don't know, how do you create a data source and consume that from Java perspective if you're working with a WebLogic application server. So I like it the way that the recruitment process was happening in Luxo, but I don't have more information. How is it now? In your opinion, for getting an evolution, how important is to get certification? Does this somehow help? Yes, as I mentioned before, the new joiners don't have the joy to learn for a long time this path. And also the amount of technologies and frameworks are so big that even if they have a lifetime, they wouldn't catch up. So a certification is a good way to prove at least that you have some idea at least of that specific topic. Yeah, it's like certification for me is like if you join to a, let's suppose, soccer or football club. Yeah, then you join the football club. Yeah, then you participate in a championship, and then you ended in the third place. Yeah, and then they give you this medal. With this medal, you go to someone, and when someone says, "Hey, let's going to play football. Who can play here?" Then you show your medal and say, "This is a medal of football." And then they say like, "Oh, okay, good, you can play with us." It does not mean that actually you're good. Maybe you are not that good. But what it means is that when you see a soccer ball, you are not going to take it with your hands. You are going to kick it. You know what is a goal. You know what is a kickoff, what is an offside, corner. This is what it means, this medal. This medal does not show how good you are, but this medal shows that you have an idea what we are talking about. And in this difficult or high complex demand industry, there are so many people that have no clue that you need to filter them faster, and a certification is a good way to filter people very, very quick. Then with the certificated people, then I start my recruitment process. So I would say it's very, very effective to have certifications, in my opinion. Good. Pavel reply here. Ta, 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 for the career looks of Jared. Ah, no, this is the quiz. Wait. Yeah, I think that's all. I don't see
Yes,
any
I'm
other
joining.
question.
Yes, I'm joining you to let you know that I think these are all the questions that our viewers left in the chat and also in comments. I think this is it. Just let me see, because you've already answered the one about frameworks and about evolution or revolution. So yeah, these are all of them. So thank you so much once again. Thank you so much, David, for joining us once again during JavaCon, and we really hope that it will not the last time that we are meeting during JavaCon, that you have so much more to say to our viewers. So, guys, keep your heads up. Check out if we have some new events upcoming with David. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So I hope you have enjoyed, and then see you next time. Don't forget to
Thank
tell us your comments also. I would like to know what is the software industry for all of you. Thank you.
you.
Have a good
Yes.
day. Ciao.
Thank you so much. Bye bye, guys. Just let me let you know about a few things, because some of you asked about the career at Luxoft. Just let me tell you that the link that you should visit is actually career.luxoft.com. There you will find all the necessary information, and we also have some information about those of you who won our contest. So we have Michał M. Michał M is the one who wins the JBL speaker, and we have Karina S. Karina S is the one that wins Jabra headphones. And as far as I know, Luxoft will contact both of you tomorrow to let you know about the details, how you can collect your prize. Guys, once again, thank you so much for joining us during JavaCon. Please be sure to check out our socials so that you know when the new live event is coming. And we hope to see you very, very soon. Bye bye.